Premiering back in 2007, Keeping Up with the Kardashians was our first introduction to Rob. Being the only male sibling in the family, he quickly garnered a fan base as he served as the comedic relief of the show, often checking his sisters and criticizing their lust for wealth and attention. However, as the family became more and more famous, Rob increasingly became the butt end of the joke, and 17 years after the show premiered, he has disappeared from the limelight, practically fading into obscurity. In 2007, Rob was considered the baby of the family. Many of his early storylines on the show focused on the sisters protecting or guiding him through life, even following him on dates to spy and make fun of him from across the room. Later in the first season, they would ask him why he doesn't tell them what's going on in his life anymore, leading to Rob telling them that he got a matching tattoo with his girlfriend and that they're in love, only for the sisters to make fun of him.
Like, what are you doing?
You're just jealous because I'm in love.
Whatever.
The Kardashian sisters, disapproving of Rob's actions, would continue for the remainder of his time on the show. For example, 1 year later, in 2008, Rob would get a memorial of his late father, whom he shares a name with, tattooed on his arm. At this point in Rob's life, he was graduating from the same school his father had attended and was clearly experiencing some mixed emotions. Instead of supporting his decision and recognizing that this was Rob's way of dealing with grief, they tell him that he has completely ruined his body, while Kris Jenner mimics putting a gun to her head and pulling the trigger. Rob reminds Khloe that she has a tattoo on her lower back, while she tells Rob that he's so f***ing stupid.
You are so stupid.
Khloe continues by saying that Rob's f***ing up, not thinking it through, and calls him a dumb for marking his body. It's difficult to not see the irony of this scene in 2024, knowing that Kourtney is married to a man covered in tattoos, and the Kardashian family is known for their body modifications. It was clear around this time that Rob was becoming increasingly frustrated with the family criticizing him.
We don't really give him a lot of respect. He's like our little brother.
Following this, the Kardashian family would vacation in Bora Bora, and while Rob relaxes in the pool, Kim would take the opportunity to criticize him to her new boyfriend Kris Humphries, saying, "Look at him, I feel really bad for him. He's just not motivated." Kris would join in on this by telling Kim that Khloe needs to kick Rob out of her house and that he should get a real job. When Rob overhears this, he tells them that he wants to focus on his career and that his dad wouldn't approve of him being on vacation while unemployed. Kris responds to this by telling Rob he's acting like a brat and he should be grateful for his opportunities. What's frustrating about this scene is that while Rob's relaxing on vacation, he's being told he's an unmotivated loser, and when he's telling them that he wants to be working, furthering his career instead of vacationing, he's told that he's acting like a spoiled brat. No matter what Rob does, it's wrong in the family's eyes. Rob responds to the brat comment by saying if anyone here is spoiled, it's Kim, as she refused to spend her vacation in the presidential suite, saying that she should be grateful for having the opportunity to do so, while reminding her that their father raised them to be grateful for what they have. Kim makes a comment about how their father would be proud of her, but not Rob, and once Rob walks away, Kim tells Kris that he should have hit her brother. Following this, Kris Humphries tells Kris Jenner that her son is into while Kim points out that Rob makes less money than Kendall and couldn't afford to if he wanted to.
I hear it all the time, loser this, from my sisters, from random people. I swear I feel like I'm gonna explode.
Later in the episode, Kris Humphries asks Kris Jenner, "Do I have permission to lay hands on your son?" Keep in mind, this was the family's first time meeting Kris Humphries.
Look at me, son. Say you're sorry. I will beat an apology out of you.
Following the family vacation to Bora Bora, Rob took Kim's words to heart and got to work on a new business. Arthur George, Rob Kardashian's luxury sock brand, launched in 2012 and offered designer pairs of socks for $30 a pair, and Rob seemed happy to finally have something of his own going on. However, Kim didn't approve of Rob using their late father's middle name George in the brand name, as she, Kourtney, and Khloe had a line at their boutique boutique store, titled Robert George. Rob's sock company, Arthur George, was a combination of his middle name and his father's middle name. Rob felt he was entitled to use his father's middle name as he himself was named after his father. Rob would go on to say, "We're family, we're supposed to help each other, and I feel like no one ever takes me seriously. Kim thinks everything's about herself." This would develop further in the family therapy episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where Rob expresses that the family puts this cloud on me like I'm a loser. When there's a business opportunity, all my mom obviously cares about is the 3 girls. Kim interrupts Rob, saying that Kris Jenner never helped them with their businesses. Rob expresses how he feels misunderstood, sad, and frustrated before tearing up and exiting the therapy session. Whether or not naming Rob's sock company Arthur George was harmful to the sisters' clothing line, looking back at these episodes does make it look like Rob is in an impossible situation. The family chastises him for not doing anything, but when he does try to do something, they break him down, poking holes in his ideas, pointing out how it will negatively affect themselves. Later on the same season, a now pregnant Kim would invite Rob to eat In-N-Out, pizza, and Chinese food with her, as Rob eats like a pregnant woman.
What am I gonna do? It's the first thing he's ever actually immersed himself in.
Well, besides the 2 refrigerators.
The paparazzi began bombarding Rob with questions about his weight, both trying to get answers from him for stories, but also to antagonize him, hoping he would lash out so they can take more interesting photos, a technique often used by the paparazzi. Following the discourse surrounding Rob's weight gain, Rob would break down on another episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, saying that he doesn't want cameras to see him with his shirt off.
I'm sad because I don't even want to sit down because
It was this same year that tabloids reported that Kris Jenner had allegedly ordered Rob to lose 70 pounds before Kim and Kanye's wedding. Tabloids also reported that Kris had allegedly called Rob a fat slob and said he's losing out on business opportunities because no one wants someone as huge as him representing their products. One insider reportedly said that she's told him that if he wants to continue to be an active part of their family, he's going to attend a camp and lose the weight once and for all. Around the same time, Rob tweeted about trending on Twitter, saying, "So I found out I was trending for being fat. Thank you all. It really made my day." He also tweeted, "No one will ever understand how much it hurts." Life went on, and Rob flew to Paris for Kim and Kanye's wedding rehearsal at Versailles. However, prior to rehearsal, Rob flew home to Los Angeles and was photographed crying at LAX airport as he walked to his vehicle. Rob had missed his sister's wedding, and rumors began swirling about why he wasn't there. Kim would claim that it was Rob's decision to skip the wedding. However, some fans speculate that Kim actually banned him from attending as she thought he would spoil her wedding photos. Realistically, it seems safer to assume that Rob's insecurity surrounding his size and the amount of eyes on the wedding was simply too much for him to deal with.
This family has allegedly fat shamed him. He's eaten himself into something terrible. Emotionally, he's probably a mess and he needs a friend.
Rob would later take to Instagram, posting a photo of actress Rosamund Pike from the movie Gone Girl with the caption, "This is my sister Kim, the from Gone Girl." Gone Girl is a 2014 movie about a woman who fakes her own disappearance while leaving a series of clues that frame her husband as a murderer. Following this, Kim would tell Kris Jenner in an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians that she needs to cut Rob off, calling him pathetic, going on to tell her family that, quote, "Everyone licks Rob's and does whatever he says, and at some point, you just have to give it up." Rob would retreat from the public eye for the next 2 years, until he was hospitalized after he suffered a diabetic attack. One source told Us Weekly that Rob's been, quote, "so stressed out, so he's not taking care of himself or eating right, and that stress affects his diabetes." However, at some point around this time, Rob began hanging out with model, rapper, and TV personality Blac Chyna, someone he would later attribute his new optimism towards healthy living to. In January of 2016, Rob's arm appeared in a photo posted by Blac Chyna on Instagram with the caption, "The Beginning." Although it only featured his arm, this was the first people had seen from Rob in a long time. However, not everyone was happy about the photo. Khloe took to Twitter and posted a cryptic tweet saying, "You can do anything, but never go against the family," leading many to speculate she didn't approve of what seemed to be the soft launch of Rob and Blac Chyna's relationship. Kylie Jenner also wasn't a fan of the new couple, as Blac Chyna used to date Kylie's ex-boyfriend Tyga. Fans criticized the Kardashian sisters for focusing on how Rob's relationship affects them, instead of being happy that Rob found a new lease on life with a woman following his diabetic attack and resulting hospitalization. The first proper photo of Rob Kardashian was taken in 2016, 2 years after he went into hiding, when he was spotted arriving at Blac Chyna's house. And just 2 days after Blac Chyna posted the photo with Rob's arm around her, Rob moved in, as Khloe had reportedly kicked Rob out of her house, saying he is, quote, "no longer welcome." Khloe would deny it had anything to do with Rob's new relationship, and would claim she had come home to find her house filled with liquor bottles and trash strewn about. However, Blac Chyna would then post a selfie of her winking on Instagram, leading fans to believe this wasn't the real reason Khloe kicked him out. Although Rob and Chyna seemed to be doing well together, things were about to become difficult. Starting with Rob driving 20 hours from Los Angeles to Austin, Texas to pick Blac Chyna up after she had been escorted off a flight and booked on charges of public intoxication and possession of a controlled substance. The very same day Rob made that trip, TMZ reports that they were offered a sex tape deal, and 3 months after that arm photo was posted, Rob and Chyna would survive their first breakup. And 1 month later, Rob would propose to Blac Chyna with a 7-carat diamond ring, estimated to be worth $325,000. On Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the Kardashian sisters air their frustration when finding out about the engagement, saying Rob should have told them beforehand and referred to the situation as hurtful.
Why would we congratulate him? No one should congratulate them.
In a later episode, Rob sits down with the sisters to explain the proposal, and the scene that plays out is reminiscent of the scenes with Rob before he retreated from the public eye. The sisters are upset that he didn't run it by them first, and instead of being happy for their brother, it becomes a lecture on how he once again did something wrong. Rob tells his sisters that Blac Chyna is pregnant with his first child, and Khloe's head collapses into her hands. Khloe says in a confessional,
I feel more empty and more unresolved than anything else, and I'm like internally sad.
In September of 2016, Rob tweeted Kylie Jenner's personal phone number as retaliation for his sisters not inviting Blac Chyna to a baby shower they had planned for him. Us Weekly reported that Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney had planned a shower for Rob, but they also didn't tell him that they were going to film it for the show. According to Us Weekly's source, he learned they were filming it for Keeping Up with the Kardashians and said, that. Blac Chyna gave birth to her and Rob's daughter, Dream, while the Kardashian sisters reportedly tried to block Blac Chyna from trademarking her name, as once she marries Rob, Blac Chyna's legal name will become Angela Renee Kardashian. However, before they had a chance to get married, Rob and Chyna would have a very public fight over Instagram where they both leaked text messages from each other. Following this, Rob would take to Snapchat, posting videos of an empty house while saying, "She took everything."
Chyna took everything that we built for the nursery for the baby Dream, and she left.
2 days after this fight, Rob posted an apology to Chyna on Instagram, and they spend New Year's Eve together. However, People magazine reports that Rob has not been allowed to be alone with his baby since he ended his engagement to Blac Chyna, with one source saying Rob remains, quote, physically and emotionally unhealthy, and the Kardashian family is very concerned about him. Rob and Chyna began fighting over Instagram again until Rob went nuclear and posted naked photos of Blac Chyna's body publicly on his Instagram, while claiming that she had been cheating on him. 5 days later, Blac Chyna and her attorney sat down on an episode of Good Morning America to discuss Rob's social media meltdown. Blac Chyna said that she was devastated and felt betrayed by the posts, going on to say that, quote, I talked to Rob about everything. The moral of the story is, he doesn't respect me. So if you can't respect me, you have to respect respect the law. Blac Chyna and her attorney claim that posting naked photos without consent is a crime. She also claims that her sending Rob a video of her with another man was what sparked his freakout on Instagram, but that the video she sent was just her way of saying, "Leave me alone," as they had apparently been separated for 8 months. Later that same day, a judge granted Chyna a restraining order, ordering Rob to stay at least 100 yards away from her and prohibiting him from posting photos of Chyna, their daughter, and Chyna's son Cairo. 2 months later, Rob and Kylie Jenner would file a lawsuit against Blac Chyna, claiming she tried to choke Rob with an iPhone cable during an argument back in December at Kylie's house. They also claim they endured several months of injuries and that Chyna made a, quote, deliberate attempt to extort the Kardashian family or her own monetary gain. The lawsuit also claims that Chyna's relationship with Rob was nothing short of an outright fraud to shake down the Kardashian family. The next month, Blac Chyna filed her own lawsuit against Rob for allegedly damaging her brand and assaulting her both physically and verbally. By 2018, Rob's reputation was lower than ever, and Arthur George, Rob's luxury sock line, had taken a massive hit. Rob was allegedly $300,000 in debt and was forced to sell 50% of the company to Kris Jenner to stay afloat. 2 years later, Blac Chyna loses her defamation case against the Kardashian family, and Rob is rumored to have suffered a drug overdose. French tabloids, alongside the popular French celebrity gossip Instagram account Aquababe, reported that Rob arrived at the hospital at 3:17 a.m. on December 27, 2022, unconscious, with a pale face and blue lips. According to the French press, Rob had allegedly overdosed on Oxycontin, with both alcohol and fentanyl found in his blood. The media also alleged that Rob awoke crying, repeating the phrase, "I want to die. Fame is not for me." In 2024, not much is known about Rob Kardashian. Some speculate he's in recovery, while most agree he's likely laying low. Rob and Chyna have reportedly established a healthy co-parenting relationship, which she recently commented on, saying, "Time heals everything, and people change, and situations change, and you get to see the situation for what it is. And the situation is Dream." When you reflect upon the early seasons of the show and the labels used by Rob's sisters to describe him, it's difficult to not imagine he was suffering from depression. Laziness, lack of motivation, and low self-esteem are all symptoms of depression, and they're all things his family used to make fun of him for. Growing up in a family as unique as the Kardashians couldn't have been easy for any of them. However, being the only male sibling had to have brought its own unique trials and tribulations, and struggling with your weight in a family that set the beauty standard for years must have been a nightmare to deal with, especially considering the possibility of your insecurities becoming nothing more than a storyline on their television show.